and welcome to Culture on I-24 News. We devote our show today to the assassination of Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, which happened 20 years ago today. The murder had a deep impact on Israeli society, which is still felt to this day, and of course echoes in cultural circles. So today on the program, we talk to the curator of an exhibition of photographs from the time of the murder. We hear how prominent Israeli filmmakers deal with the murder and its memory. And meet the sketch artist from Yigal Amir's trial. Three Shots That Changed the Country is a new exhibition of photos surrounding Rabin's assassinations from the archives of the Yediot Aharonot newspaper. It's on display at Habima Theater in Tel Aviv, and with me in the studio is one of the exhibition's curators, photojournalist Avigail Uzi. Avigail, thanks for coming in. So first off, what guided you when you chose the photographs for the exhibition?
First of all, we decided on a time frame, the period of the assassination. You can show Rabin in many layers. But we wanted to bring back the sensation of that specific evening. And we chose to focus on the period of the assassination, starting with some pictures taken before of the incitation and throughout that month after the murder.
Going all the way to when? Because the memory of the assassination is still with us, you know.
For me, through my work in the archive, I had a journey of exploration to refresh my memory, and also because I was curious of finding where it all started.
חיפשתי בנגטיבים, הגעתי שנתיים אפילו, 3 שנים לפני הרצח.
So I went back looking through the negatives from 2-3 years before his assassination.
שמראה את רבין בתוך הרכב שרד שלו, שהוא מוברח מתוך הפגנה.
And I was surprised to find a photograph of Rabin in his car, fleeing a protest with his bodyguards running behind him. He is sitting and smoking a cigarette inside his car, a rare picture you can't find today. Politicians smoking a cigarette. And he glares at the photographer in a surprised way. It is a picture which gives the feeling of danger 3 years before his death.
3 שנים לפני, וזאת בעצם החלטה שעשינו. לקחנו את התמונה, את הצילום הזה שנעשה 3 שנים לפני,
And we made the decision of taking this picture from 3 years before, and we placed it alongside the photograph that we see him in his last moments on the way to Ichilov Hospital.
Right, this one from the night of... Yeah.
נכון, מוברח לבית חולים איכילוב. בעצם יש לנו...
We have the beginning and the end on the same wall.
על אותו קיר.
Yeah, with a similar frame that connects it. I want to ask, as a photojournalist, during a night like that night, are you aware of the importance of the night? Are you aware that your work is documenting history, will become part of the history of the evening?
אני אגיד לך, כשזה קרה, הייתה הפתעה מאוד גדולה, גם בתקשורת.
When this happened, it was a big surprise on the communications and the media. Even on TV, people couldn't believe what was happening. The first thing you do is to walk outside, and you don't understand yet that you are photographing history. When Eitan Haber, on behalf of the government, went outside to inform half hour or 1 hour after about the death of Rabin, then you understand something happened and that there is no turning back. But still, the photographs were not done yet with the historical thinking because you still can't grasp it. The next day at the funeral, then we begin to see photographs that are likely to stay with us for years. But the first photographs of the event were chaotic, and photographers took spontaneous pictures.
What do you remember from that night? Were you there?
אני הייתי בביתי
I was at home watching TV when I understood something happened. I remember being very angry. The first feeling was anger. How can something like this happen? A lot of confusion, a fast ride to Rabin's house. Immediately it can be seen how people broke out into tears and hugs, and everyone was shocked, and it was very difficult.
Who were some of the photojournalists that were there that night that I don't know, were the highlight of that evening? I'm sure it was an evening that made some careers even.
כן, כולם יצאו, כל הצלמים יצאו לצלם.
All the photographers went out to photograph.
היו צלמים שלקחו את זה,
and there were photographers who took it one step forward, such as Eldad Rafaeli, Mickey Kartzman, and Amir Weinberg, who created unique work. They understood quickly that these were historical moments.
Yeah. There's one picture of yours in the exhibition of singer Aviv Geffen, taken a few years after the murder, but he was the person that sang. He's very well connected to the event. Is there something? What was this for?
הצילום הזה הוא צילום בכיכר רבין.
This is a photograph taken in Rabin Square. Aviv Geffen was supposed to perform at the rally.
בעצרת. ולאביב, אביב ככה, תראה, הוא יושב מאוד קרוב, מרגיש...
In this image, he sits closely to the memorial stone. He feels comfortable. Aviv has a beautiful story. He was supposed to sing a completely different song.
ו3 דקות לפני...
And 3 minutes before he went on stage, he changed his mind and sang a song he wrote about a good friend of his who died in a car accident.
בתאונת דרכים, שנקרא לבכות לך.
Yeah, something that certainly also stayed with all of us from that night. Avigail, thanks so much for coming in, for talking to us about this exhibition.
תודה רבה.
Thank you.
Not long ago, we hosted director Amos Gitai on the show. His latest film, Rabin, The Last Day, chronicles the period before Rabin's assassination and its aftermath. In his interview, he told us why he decided to make the movie now.
I say that this film I make more, or principally as an Israeli citizen, not just as a film director. Because I think that we need sometimes, cinema is a very strong medium to bring back a memory. And we have to remember that 20 years ago, Rabin and Peres together tried to mobilize this region and to move into some peace agreements. And I think that in the current state of the Middle East, we need to think back of this.
We need to be reminded of it. You feel that the memory has faded away or has changed over the years?
I wouldn't say it's faded away. You know, you have been watching, like me, the last weeks, almost here in Israel, on every television or radio, they speak again about Rabin, you know. So I think that Rabin was a great general, made his own strategy to hit back 20 years later. But that's as a citizen, you know. So we worked, we did a major research to write the script and to cast. It's a very big film, 70 actors, hundreds of extras.
You know, it's not a documentary film, we should say that, but it does use a lot of archival footage, which gives it a very authentic kind of feeling. Is it your personal views, or are you trying to give it a more authentic feel?
You know, it's like JFK. In JFK, you don't have Kennedy. Kennedy is represented in archive, and I thought that Oliver Stone made a good decision because these great figures have a great aura, and so I don't think it's easy to replace them by an actor as good as he may be, and so it's really about the investigation commission around the killing of Rabin, and also about the great incitation to kill him and to destabilize his government, which unfortunately succeeded.
Led to this, yeah. Gitai wasn't the only one to speak about the murder and its consequences on the show. Dror Moreh, director of the film The Gatekeepers, featuring conversations with heads of the Israeli Shin Bet, told us why he thinks Rabin's assassination was a pivotal moment, both for him personally and for Israeli society.
Rabin's assassination is the most horrible, I think, point in my life. Because something fundamental in the Israeli society, I think, was shattered at that day. And I think that the Israeli society did not deal and is not dealing up until today with the ramification of that murder on all aspects. On the contrary, it's only getting worse and worse. It's not that we kind of learned the message or learned the lessons and we implemented something like that. We didn't. And it echoes in almost every day that I see what goes on in Israel, that this murder is echoing all over. People do not understand. We are now 20 years almost from that murder. In November, which is a month from now, it will be 20 years from that horrible moment. And it changed everything because Rabin personified something for the Israeli public as a war hero, as someone who is willing to go that extra mile in order to create a better future. And there is a reason why Yigal Amir and all those people who were behind him, who pushed him to kill him, pushed him to kill exactly Yitzhak Rabin, because we saw what happened after that.
Yeah. I-24 News correspondent Uri Shapira went to see an unusual exhibition at Tel Aviv's Engel Gallery, one which presents for the first time sketches from the trial of Yigal Amir, the murderer of Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin. More in this report.
Courtroom sketches are mostly not considered an art form, but rather as a procedure to document a trial when cameras are not allowed inside the courtroom. However, this specific exhibition is quite different. After nearly 20 years, Israeli artist Jacques Jeannot is displaying sketches from the trial of Yigal Amir, who assassinated Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin in 1995, in a new exhibition entitled Beside the Witness Stand, which recently opened at the Engel Gallery, Tel Aviv.
Of course, when we're talking about feelings, everybody can take it to a different place because politics has nothing to do with art. And everybody can see something else. I have people who come in here and, you know, they say, I can't look at it. It makes me scared. It makes me angry. It brings emotions, and that's what art needs to do. It needs to bring out emotions.
As some of the sessions of Amir's trial were held behind closed doors, Jeannot has the responsibility of providing some of the only evidence from inside the courtroom of one of the most covered trials in Israel and beyond. Sitting in a courtroom with one of the most hated men in Israel made this ordinary clerical task difficult. However, Jeannot says he saw it as a regular job.
I was totally natural and objective. I just wanted to be a good artist and to see the picture as wide as it is.
One of the most significant sketches in this collection shows Amir in a human light, and not as the villain he appears in other pictures.
It's like he was sitting in front of me by the National Gallery, and I'm just making his portrait, and I'm waiting for him to finish, to say, he looks like me, and give me £5. Also, the way I did it, also with the white and a little bit with the shade, try to look like as he is.
On March 27, 1996, Amir was sentenced to life imprisonment. Nearly 20 years later, one image has remained etched in the collective Israeli memory, that of the young assassin laughing in court.
To complete this sketch, Uri Shapira is joining me in the studio. Hi, Uri.
Hi.
So, what do you think happened to the memory of Yigal Amir? I mean, we, in the years right after the murder, he's been very present in our lives. You know, that smile that I've waited throughout the story to finally appear in the last act. But as years went by, we see less and less of him.
I think the Israeli public was not prepared to discuss about Amir and his story. I think they're mostly concerned about Rabin's legacy, and I think he became outcast. You know, even in schools, in the education system, they don't teach much about Amir, and I think it's very concerning because at the end of the day, one man pulled the trigger.
There's a lot of talk, about whether he had some sort of support system that pushed him to do this. How do you feel about that?
I think if you won't talk about it, so that can lead to some dangerous conspiracy theories. And as we can see today, there's a growing number of people that in Israel that believe in conspiracy theories.
We did see one attempt to deal with his story not too long ago. Beyond the Fear, a documentary film made about him and his family.
Yeah. So Beyond the Fear is a documentary about Yigal Amir. There are interviews with members of his family, his relatives, his wife. The film was directed by Hertz Frank, a very famous documentary filmmaker.
But it wasn't allowed to be screened?
It wasn't allowed to be screened. Actually, they tried to film it at the Jerusalem Film Festival. And eventually, after pressure,
it did not go by. We spoke it up. Thank you, Uli.
Thank you very much.
Thank you at home for watching us. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition of Culture. Please join us.